Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. Hello stunners, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. Happy Wellness Wednesday. How are we all feeling? It feels like it's been a real hot minute since I've sat down in this cozy corner on my sofa and recorded a podcast episode for you all. Life has been life and she's been frolicking, she's been gallivanting, she's been whimsical, she's been wonderful. And I'm finally back recording a lovely bit of Wednesday wellness wisdom for you all. Hopefully, we'll see. Anything could happen in the next, 20 minutes, half an hour. First of all, thank you to those that listened to last week's episode with the astrological chart reading with the lovely Crystal from This Is Teeling Garden. It was a hefty episode, right? It was a long episode, but I kept as much of it in as I could because honestly, I found it fascinating. And that conversation has really lingered in my brain over the past couple weeks. There's been so many new things, little developments here and there, and I've been constantly linking it back to my chart and thinking, oh, this makes perfect sense, or maybe that's why this happened in that way. It's fascinating. Some of you had already said that you are interested in receiving a chart reading with Crystal, and honestly, I couldn't recommend it even more. If you listen to the end of last week's episode, right, if you made it all the way through to the very end, there is that discount where you can get, I think 10% off a little reading with Crystal, and yeah, highly recommend. Honestly, the things I have learned since, and I keep messaging Crystal as well. This is the beautiful thing about the way in which she works. You can keep messaging her. She became a little therapist for me for maybe like a week or so there, where she's like, what does this mean? Can you tell me about that again? So yeah, I've been having all these little realizations ever since that conversation, and I highly recommend it, okay? And also, how fun was it to have a first proper guest on the podcast? Although don't tell my niece that, because if you remember, I can't remember which episode it was, but if you remember, I brought my niece on the pod as well. That was another cute episode. But yeah, this felt like my proper first guest on the podcast, which, yeah, maybe I get more guests in. I do kind of like it, just me, myself and I just chit-chatting away. But it is nice to have like another voice come through. So we'll see. I have another little something in mind. We'll see. We'll see what 2026 brings. Also on that, does 2026 feel like it's coming at you like a gazillion miles an hour? I'm not ready. Someone said to me today that I've only got like 2 weeks left of my council class, and I was like, hang on, what? No. Surely I've got like a whole another month to go. Surely I've got time. No. 2 weeks left until things really start winding down for, dare I say it, Christmas. I actually started Christmas shopping the weekend just gone, and I don't know how I feel about it, but I feel like I needed to make a start, otherwise it was never going to happen. So we've started. Maybe I'm going to put the decorations up this weekend. We'll see. I think I will. I've got my girlies coming around the weekend after, so maybe it'll be nice to have some Christmas coziness with my gorgeous gals. We shall see. Also, I think my girls are going to Slow Flow Sunday one weekend. So if you are booked in for a slow flow in the upcoming weeks, buckle in because my best girlies might be there and it's going to be a real hoot and I'm excited. I don't get to share my teaching, my practice with a lot of my close friends because everyone's so far away. I don't think I've actually shared it with any of my family. So I get really excited when I get to share what I do with those closest to me. So yeah, that should be really fun. Anyway, I've gone on a complete tangent. I have been so looking forward to actually sit down and have this conversation with you guys because these are some thoughts that have been percolating around my weird and whimsical little brain for a good while, all about the winter arc, okay? Now, this is a phrase that I hadn't actually heard about. I had heard it from Grace Beverley's podcast, Working Hard. I listened to it maybe like a couple weeks ago, this particular episode talking about the winter arc, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And apparently it's a thing. Apparently it's a thing that people have been talking about on social media quite a bit. I've not seen anything of it, but since hearing about it, done a little bit of journaling on it. I've sat down with myself and thought about what my winter arc could be. And obviously your winter arc, just as like a brief overview of what it is, it's this kind of narrative, all right? I love to think of like my life playing out as a story, okay? And you can be the writer, the director, the main character. You decide, you make all the decisions. I think actually there's a lot of people that resonate with that, is that your life is this story and you're not only witnessing it, but you're living it at the same time, and you can decide when you change scene, okay? You can rewrite these chapters at any point. You can decide to close the book and maybe move on to book 2, you know? I think it's this real nice way of continuing to shape this life for yourself and visualizing it like a story. I think it allows you to romanticize the small aspects of your life a little bit more. You know, there's some days where it feels like this montage scene playing out, you're kind of in that in-between stage, and then other times it feels like you're walking towards the big moment, the peak of this particular story. Yeah, I think humans in general, we like to apply like a narrative to things, right? And there's this beautiful mindset that I'm pretty sure we've all come across, and I've probably mentioned it on here before. Like when you feel like you're at a crossroads, right? Or you feel like you're about to make a decision, or you need to make a decision, think about the audience. Think of it like you're in a film, right? And there's this audience watching you. What is the audience screaming at the TV for you to do? You know, you've all done it where you've watched something and they're like wishing for this main character to maybe act in a certain way, or then they make the wrong decision and are like, oh no, why did they do that? You know, we all have moments like that when we're really gripped in our favorite series, okay? So it's like treating your life like your favorite series or film or whatever, and thinking, okay, what is my audience screaming at me to do right now, okay? So in my story, or in our story, right, in everyone's individual stories, films, music videos, whatever medium you're choosing, we are entering the winter arc, okay? It's the winter segment of your story. And I had a funny image come into my head whilst I was again thinking about this over the past few days, and I knew I was going to sit down to record this episode. Do we all know that scene in Twilight where Bella is just sat there and it's like this montage of like seasons passing behind her? I think it's when Edward fucks off or something, and she's moping, she's simping over Edward, and he is nowhere to be found. He's gone, he's vanished. And it's the little montage scene. I was thinking, like, is that what I'm going to let my winter arc be? Am I going to be like Bella, where I'm just sat and the seasons pass all around me? Or am I actually going to dive into this autumn-winter season and actually establish it as some sort of new character arc for myself? And you guys know me, she's not one to sit still for very long. So of course, I've gone with the option of creating a winter arc. So just to kind of define this, I guess, what I mean by your winter arc, it's this personal season of intentional slowing down. We all know winter is a time for that introspection, right? So I suppose the winter arc is just actually owning that a little bit more. It's this quiet reflection. It's this real soft rebuilding, this gentle transformation in the background. It's not in the foreground. It's so quiet, it's so subtle, but it's still happening. I think often in winter, it almost feels like things come to a complete standstill. Things feel really stuck, still. It's cold outside. If you're in the UK, you would have felt that recent cold snap, where we all feel that temptation to just hibernate, to just draw in, to kind of shrink into ourselves. So it's this little reminder that that gentle transformation is still happening, it's still unfolding, but it's just quieter. And it is this chapter in your story where you are invited to turn inwards, where you are invited to reconnect to who you are, to what matters to you, or perhaps what matters to you right now, because that too can shift with the seasons, right? And maybe you're setting these quiet foundations, these quiet boundaries for the version of you that will rise again in spring. I spoke about this maybe last year when Danny and I were recording these episodes. You might remember we did a whole like vision board series, right? And I was really leaning into the fact that, you know, when you go into the new year, there's sometimes this surge of energy and we're like, okay, right, this is the year where I'm going to do X, Y, Z. But actually it's realizing that when we enter a new year, we're still in the depths of winter. We're still in this quiet, reflective time, right? It's not really until spring when we can actually spring out of this cocoon, this cozy little nest we've been hunkering down into, then take that inspired action towards the things that we want to action this year, okay, towards the things that we want to do this year. So your winter arc is like this soft little reset. It's not a productivity sprint. It's not this reinvention overnight. It's not about fixing yourself. It's this soft reset. It's a chance to pause. It's a chance to kind of like take stock of everything. I've been doing that a lot recently, where I've been kind of just taking stock of like this emotional landscape I'm currently in, right? You gal's been feeling a lot recently, and I will give context to this in a moment or so, all right? Where I know I personally feel like I do struggle with the shift in seasons. It's almost like it takes me a minute to like catch up with it. I know I definitely felt this in spring, right? It's almost like I get so used to a particular season, and then before I know it, a new season has arrived. I'm like, okay, wait, hang on. This is where we're at now. So it's almost like I'm catching up. So I think it took me a little bit of time to settle into this new season, right? It feels like, I know we're not really even in winter yet. We're still yet to have the winter solstice, but it does feel like that this time is here. So I think over the past few weeks, I have definitely been struggling with the shorter days, with the longer nights, and waking up and it still feels like the dead of night outside. I am definitely someone that like thrives on sunlight, and there were a couple days where it was just so dark, it was so miserable outside, and I literally felt myself shrink. And it's almost like I felt my light go out, like literally like someone flicked a switch and my light had just gone. And I was like feeling this kind of inner conflict, like, hang on, what's happened here? Because I hadn't realized that, yes, we're in a new season, and we aren't going to have this vibrancy all the while. So I think it took me a few weeks to actually really understand that. I think I'm coming down from this period of real vibrancy and real color, and now I'm coming back to center, and it feels quieter, it feels slightly muted, and that's okay. But it's taken me some time to realize that. I think now that I have realized this, it's also like appreciating that this season, this winter arc, it's a real season of nourishment. So again, it's connecting back to what's going to make you feel cozy, what's going to make you feel comforted at home. It's this time to prioritize habits, these routines, these rituals. And I think maybe even more now than ever, because it does get harder to stick to routines, and maybe it actually is allowing for a slight shift in routines here and there. If you're someone that likes to wake up early in the mornings and maybe hit the gym, it gets harder and harder to do that with these shorter days, right? So maybe it is actually changing your routine ever so slightly, just a little bit, okay? Allowing yourself a bit more rest, going to the gym a little bit later. It's not gonna, the world isn't going to end, right? If you do things a little bit differently, okay? The world is going to keep on spinning if you miss a gym sesh, all right? I was literally saying to my friend earlier today, who was kind of berating herself a little bit because she's not gone to the gym. And I was like, mate, it's all right. You're already making other plans to maybe take yourself on a long winter walk. That is even more beautiful, because you're actually going to get outside in nature, have that fresh air, and you're not going to be in a dark, dingy gym. You know what I mean? So actually, in some ways, we're already making better decisions for ourselves in this winter arc. We just haven't actually realized it yet. I think it's this real beautiful time to, again, regulate that nervous system of yours and calling in what it is that's going to bring you comfort for these colder months, and anchor into what really matters right now. And there's a beautiful analogy in terms of autumn and this shedding, even with like Halloween that we've already moved through, okay? It's this real like death and rebirth cycle, right? This time calls for you to release just what isn't serving you anymore and calling in those qualities that you want to embody next. But again, it's so quiet. It's going to feel like at moments you are at a standstill. There's going to be moments where you do feel stuck. But again, just leaning into that core to draw in, to anchor into what matters, rather than trying to like force motivation, and just build these gentle practices around yourself so that you can reconnect with this purpose, with this grounding, with this direction. And it's like soft step by soft step. That is your winter arc. And there's a beautiful quote I want to share here where it says, "Is this preparation for expansion? What you do in your winter arc becomes the roots that support your growth when the energy of spring arrives." So we're still right at the beginning, okay? We're still like right at the beginning of these winter months, okay? So allow it to take time, knowing that in that time you are establishing these strong and sturdy roots so that when spring comes around, not in the new year, not on New Year's Day, not in January, but in March, April time, okay? When spring arrives, there's that new colour in the air. So I hope that helps define what the winter arc is and what that winter arc could be. And literally it's only in the past week or so where I feel like I have arrived into my winter arc, and I'm going to tell you why that is now. We're going to have a little story time here, huns, all right? So we've started off all like whimsical, and this all sounds lovely. However, the way in which I came into my winter arc was somewhat surprising. So as I mentioned, for the past few weeks, I've been feeling like this little bit of inner conflict, this battle within myself where I wanted to feel this continued motivation, this continued drive to get things done. I felt like I was, a few weeks ago, a few months ago, I was just feeling really motivated, feeling really driven to move towards the things that I want, to continue pushing myself. And it's felt like this slow decline in that, and I've been kind of fighting against it a little bit. And I've literally been like, what is happening here? Why am I not this vibrant, motivated person anymore? And it felt like, again, I was losing my light. And in this time, I had started dating again. Dun, dun, dun. And I know I said I wasn't, because I know I was kind of telling cuffing season to fuck off a little bit. But I realised I was in this man-hating phase, and I decided I just didn't want to be in that man-hating phase anymore. I needed to get out of my own way. I needed to get over myself a little bit. And yeah, so I started dating again. And what I will say, I feel like this is the first time I have done dating right, and I'm quite freaking proud of myself. I did the thing, I got the apps, I met the person again, I met the person again, I met the person again, and that's what it's meant to be, right? It's just this slow figuring out. Now, so I wouldn't even say that I was dating this person, right? I'd been on a few dates with the same person, which is so rare, because in the dating scene, there's a lot of first dates, there's a fair few second dates, there's not many third, fourth, fifth dates, all right? So when you get to the fourth, fifth date, you're like, this is weird, this is new territory. So the fact that I got to that point, I was like, oh, okay, let's chill out, let's calm down a second. But also, I was just feeling so proud of myself, because I was like, I'm doing it right. This is what it's meant to be like. Okay, cool. And I think it has helped me to come out of this man-hating phase, because I ended up meeting a nice guy. I wasn't sure of this guy. I think we're very, very different, and we were very unsure of each other. But basically what happened was this guy binned me off. I got binned off by a guy, and I was like, what? Sorry, excuse me? Good sir, hang on. And it's funny to me because I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not trying to like just toot my own horn here, but like this is the first time that that's happened to me. It's the first time where I've been the one that's been rejected, okay? I know that sounds quite harsh, and it doesn't really matter because I just don't think we were sure of each other, and he just reached the decision before I did. So even though I was just like, wait, what? You're binning me off before I get the chance to bin you off? Hang on. And again, I know it sounds like the language I'm using sounds quite harsh, like chucking someone in the bin, but that is kind of what happens. You decide like, lovely to meet you, but you're not the one for me, and that's okay, that's fine. That's basically what happened, you know? He was like, I don't think this is going to go any further. You're a genuine, like, lovely person, but it's not for me. And that's fine. Because after all, why would I want someone that's not choosing me, all right? At the end of the day, I want someone that's going to choose me through and through. And he showed that he wasn't willing to choose me. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I wanted to choose him. Fine. So this happened one evening, and what transpired in that evening became a real late night recalibration where that light that I thought that I'd lost just came back. It was like someone struck a match and whoof, here she is again. It's almost like I needed to be released in order to choose myself again. It's like I needed for him to show me that he wasn't choosing me for me to choose myself again. So I'm really thankful for this recent experience because I feel like it has kickstarted my winter arc, and I'm in this season of nourishment. I'm in this season of this quiet reflection, and I've had this little reset. So I'm so grateful actually for what's happened over these past few weeks, because that inner conflict I was in was feeling really sticky, and perhaps it wasn't necessarily visible to the outside eye because I was continuing to show up as best I could, but I don't know, there was something that just felt off. I was just feeling uninspired, not very motivated. And I think, again, this experience has taught me something. I feel like this has been the soft reset that I needed. And again, what happened that evening is that I wrote poetry again for the first time in I don't know how long, months and months and months. I mean, my notes app is still full to the brim of poems that I've not yet shared, and I'm hopefully going to get back into the rhythm of sharing more. I just felt this strong reconnection back to self, and what they say, like, rejection is redirection, rejection is protection. Now, I'm obviously not going to lie and say that when I received that message from the guy saying that he's not going to choose me, I'm not going to lie and say, like, I felt nothing from it. There obviously was like a little bit of a sting. I was like, oof, okay, this is humbling. But very quickly, reframe, redirect, and here we are now. And if we really want full transparency, I'm already looking forward to a date with someone else. So there it is, Hans. That is the context behind this little shift that has been happening, this soft reset that's been happening. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this continuation of this real slow, sustainable momentum now. Yeah, I think that's actually what I'm craving right now, just this slow, sustainable momentum. Yeah. So in order to help you guys establish your winter arc, or maybe create a clearer picture on what you'd like your winter arc to look like, got some questions for you. Got a few little journal prompts maybe. So I want you to just ask yourself, where is it that you feel the most you right now? What is it? Is it an activity? Is it a craft of some sort? Is it doing something? Is it getting outside? Where is it that you feel the most connected to you? And then on the flip side of that, where is it that you then feel the furthest away from yourself? What is it that you're doing that takes you away from that connection, right? And then perhaps think about how we want to navigate this cold, this slowness. So how How are these winter months maybe affecting your body, your energy, your creativity? And with that, what does your winter self perhaps then need more of? What does she need less of? And how would you move if you actually just trusted this slowness? And again, that slow, sustainable momentum. What new habits are you going to set? And perhaps what's one tiny, small habit that you can introduce that just makes you feel a little bit more anchored into each day? And actually, what's one habit that you can lovingly release for now? Maybe it is waving goodbye to those early morning gym sessions, okay? Maybe it is allowing yourself to sleep in a little bit later, okay? Fine. It doesn't matter. The world isn't going to end, okay? Those seasons are going to keep changing. Time is going to keep on ticking. Things are going to keep unfolding. And you will continue to quietly transform even in this soft, slow season, right? So yeah, there are a few questions that I'd love for you to maybe sit and just think about, journal, ponder, maybe on a walk, maybe whilst you're driving, I don't mind. And then final question, just because again, we love to apply narrative things, or at least I do. I find it really beneficial, I find it really helpful. Final question I'm going to ask is, if your winter arc was a chapter title, what would you call it? What are you naming your winter arc? Okay. And it can just be my winter arc. Okay. But if there's something that's landing particularly, run with it or walk with it, or maybe just sit with it. Again, it's this slowness, it's this steadiness. All right. What are we titling this winter arc? How are we defining this season for ourselves? What is it that we're consciously choosing? What is it that we're consciously not choosing? And if that's the case where someone is not choosing you, choose yourself. Always, 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 always. I didn't realize that there had been a time where I stopped choosing myself. And to you guys, this probably seems really strange because I know I'm fresh off a solo trip to Prague and I have been doing all these lovely things for myself. I have been creating all these opportunities for myself. But that's what I mean. There has been this inner conflict where I was maybe choosing myself in some ways, not in all ways. So my lovely little stunners, I hope that was a nice kind of recentering episode after all the Prague adventures, after all the astrological chart readings. I hope this is a nice episode to come back home to and yeah, settle into your winter arc. And let me know, what are you naming your winter arc? What are you calling it? Let me know in the comments, either underneath this episode, on social media, wherever you happen to find me. Let me know what you are defining your winter arc as. And yeah, let's keep establishing these roots ready to rise in spring. All right, I'm going to wrap this up there, honeys. It's been lovely to sit down and chat with you again. And I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love. Mwah. Alright, stunners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope it has left you feeling suitably inspired. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, all those lovely things, as not only does this help the podcast grow, but it also helps us to reach more beautiful souls who need to hear these conversations. And of course, come hang out with me over on Instagram and TikTok at LaurenAmyYD and follow the pod at butterflyeffect.pod. You can also dive deeper into yoga, meditations, poetry, and so much more with me over on Patreon. Until next time, keep living a soft life loudly because you know you deserve it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!